I've forgotten. By default, the header is having a display type of block. The H1 has a display type of block. The P has a display type of block. But then, how do you take away all those type of displays? Whether you want to cancel the inline, you want to cancel it from being blocked, then you set the display type to flex. So when it comes a flex item, come in, let me minimize this, hiding it. When it comes to a flex item, it changes them to inline. Then how do you bring them in the stacking order? We'll say flex direction of what? Column, and that will bring them in the stacking order. Then how do we move it down vertical way? Then we say align items. So let's say center, to send them to the center. There's one thing here. Now, when we change the display type to flex, automatically these properties switch. Initially, by default, align item is supposed to bring the item vertically either to the center. But then the moment we change the flex direction to column, then align items rather becomes the horizontal way of moving items to the center. Then justify content will now be the one to bring them to the vertical center. So we say justify content. Justify content. What do you see? Center. All right, justify content center. All right, so we can apply a font size of, let's say, 40 pixels, and that makes them grow bigger. And what about a color of white will do. So now that you are seeing this spacing here, that means there might be a property that is applied. It can be margin or padding. But how will you know? Right click on your screen, then come to inspect. Then click on this small icon here, left click on it, and to give it a chance to hover your mouse pointer over an element, then it will show you a pop-up menu indicating the properties. In the pop-up menu, you see something like color, font, then margin. Let's say that the first one is margin 53.6 and then 0. That means there is a margin of top and bottom 53.6. So we can cancel that margin, margin, right, and say 0. What happens? To take off the margin for this item. For that reason, we have to point those child elements. So we say a class of hairstyle, then we point the H1. So we say dot headstyle, then we point the H1. And say margin 0. So that the margin so that the margin is taken away. And what about this one? The P element. It might also be having some spacing. That one also has a margin of 40 pixels. So when you give it also a margin of 40 pixels, so dot hairstyle P element selected, we say margin of 0. That means you're taking away the margin. Now they get tighter, because you see that when they are spaced, they are not looking neat, or they are not looking well designed. Now that is about the CSS align items. Flex boxes. We have the align items and then justify content. The align items will move items vertically down or up, and the justify content will move items horizontally to the left or right. But the moment you apply the command flex direction column, that means you are switching the two properties. Align items will no longer be vertical, it will now become horizontal placement. And the justified content will now be the one that will be doing the horizontal placement. When you keep that in mind and practice it, you'll be fine. All right. Let's dive immediately to the CSS positions. In CSS positions, it is used to place elements in the viewport or on the screen. It's one of the ways you can use to place things. When you create something, you can also give it commands as to where it should be placed, depending on the way that you want it. The position types, we have the positions. Let's say the positions. We have the static position, which is the default position. Whenever you create new items and then you are coding alongside, everything is by default or automatically static. We'll look at it. Then we have the position sticky. That one attaches itself to the view screen. Let's say we scroll and we get to a point, it will stop there, and it will become as if it's a sticker that has been made. Then another type of position that we have is the relative. That one is also the normal type of what position. When you create a new element, automatically it's a relative element. But the moment you assign that item a relative, you can apply some properties to it, like the top, right, bottom, and left, to specify its position. And also the same way for the sticky, we can specify top, right, bottom, and left. And then we have the position absolute. The absolute will remove the elements from the normal order in which you are coding. It will take it away from the website, and then you'll be able to also give it properties like top, right, bottom, and left for you to be able to control its placement. Now let's see them. For the position static, that one is the normal flow of elements. Let me see, open a recent. Will I get any project here? Let me see. Oh no. The website that we coded initially recently. Okay. Okay. In that case, we will have to do our own quick project code right now. Okay. Let me use this one as example to illustrate what we are doing. Exactly. Let me open with VS Code. All right. Okay. So that particular website I've opened. Let's immediately create a website, and then let's say header, and then with that one, let's put some nav items. So nav, I want to put some UL items. Yes, some UL, and then inside the UL, we should have the LI items there, and we want them to be 3 of them. Yes, we want them to be 3. Press on the tab key. Okay. So for the first one, we want to have home. We want to have about. We want to have contact. Okay. So I will say nav. All right. So let me give it a height a height of, let's say, 80 pixels, width 100%. Okay, and the background color. Actually, what we have done has appeared on screen. I'm sure. Let's see it in a live way. So these are them over here. All right. So let's say okay. So background color. Let's give it a blue color. Okay. I hope the CSS is linked. Okay, start with CSS is linked. That's okay. So let's say header, then pointing to nav item. All right. Okay, so color should be white. All right. Let us create some additional boxes, many of them, okay, so that we can use them for this quick illustration. Then we'll dive into the so I'll come outside the header. So just under the header, I'll create a div, let's say box 1, and let's say item, let's say item A. The item A, let me put it inside a p tag. I'll say item A, control plus S to allow that. So let's check, and I'm sure it has appeared. Okay, now we are going to start this box 1. Okay, let's give it some small box styling. So we say call the name of that class, then we say a height, height, a height, giving it a height of, let's say, 50 pixels, and then a width of let's say the same way, 50 pixels. Now what about background color? A background color of something, let's say something like blue violet is okay. All right, this is over here. It's very small. It is very, very small. It is very small. So what will we do? Let's increase this to, let's say 150 pixels. Okay, the same way that we do for the width, 150 pixels. That's okay. That's okay. Now it has grown bigger. We want to duplicate, just copy this and duplicate it several number of times. Paste it, another one again, paste it again. How many of them are we having on screen? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have a lot of them. Paste it, paste it, paste it, paste it, paste it again. Save, and we have a lot of them. Very good. Now instead of we saying box 1, box 2, box 1, we say box 2, box 3, box 4, box 5, box 6, box 6. The next one will be box 7. Okay, box 7, box 8, box 9. Control plus S to save that, and they will disappear. This one's the colors, we have to apply separate coloring to them. Okay. The reason why I've done a plenty is because we want to have them in a way that we can be able to scroll, so this one can disappear. Then we'll do the position property to make them, yeah. So let's just follow. Okay, let's follow. Okay, let's follow. You see this box 1 class, we're going to copy it and paste it severally. Okay, but then we'll change it from box, we'll change the class names for each of the copy and paste to box 1, box 2, box 3, so that it will apply the same properties to these ones that are waiting to get styling. After that, we will now change the colors for each of the boxes. Then we'll start doing the experimentation. So we'll copy this class, copy, go down, Control plus V, go down, Control plus V, 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 V. It's okay. And the moment you change this one to box 2, control plus, just clean anything. The moment you change it to box 2, this box 2 will take the styling for this. You can see that box 2 has taken the styling. So we can now do hover our hand on top of this selector and change the color. Control plus S to save that. Come again. Look at that. Okay. And I'll do that for the others too as well. Yes. And there is something here. I wanted there to be space, 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 space. It's okay. And then over here, we should have box 3. We should have box 4. We should have box 5. We should have box 6. We should have box 7. We should have box 8. Box 9. It's okay. Any other box is not necessary. This one. Take them off. Control plus X and then you see them. But then let's change the colors for those other boxes that follow. Okay. So box 1, box 2 has been changed color. How about this other box? Have a different color. This one too. Have a different color. This one too. Have a different color. It's okay. This one too. Have a different color. This one too. Have a different color. This one too. Have a different color. This one. Have a different color. Have a different color. And this one. Have a different color. Have a different color. Have a different color. I think it should come down here. It's okay. Control plus S to apply that or come. They've all gotten different colors. That's okay. Now, let's talk about position static. Position static. Position static. Position static is the by default the automatic positioning. You see this thing when we created box 1. This box 1 class. It took the first space. Of course, a div is a block item. Block. That's why it has blocked the remaining space. They are not inline. If they are inline, so this one will also come and continue here. But because they are block items, it will block the remaining space. And then the next one also what? In that way. That's why they'll be stacking on each other. That's what we call the document flow. So anything new, any new div that you create, your HTML, you're automatically going to the what? You are continuing. You are building downwards. You are building downwards. They are going in that stacking order. That is what we normally say the document flow. Now, box 1 is what we see here. Then box 2, follow to the next one. Box 3 as what? So they are following the document that what? In our document flow. All right. So we said automatically by default, the CSS position gives us things like we can give an item a property like a CSS property like top 20 pixels, right 30 pixels, and that should move to the right 30 pixels, and at the top should shift from the top downwards by 20 pixels, and then left, let's say 100 pixels, and that should shift from the left side 100 pixels. So top, right, bottom, and left are properties that we can apply to CSS position elements. So now for the first one, let's try with the position static. With the position static, hello, someone's mic is on. Kindly mute yourself. The video is being recorded. Blessing, mute your microphone. The video is being recorded. All right, thank you. Let's carry on. So the box 1, this is it here. Let's give it position of, not in caps, small letters, position of static. What happens? It still remains untouched the same way for the nav, this nav that we created. But we give it a position of static, position of static. What happened? it still remain untouched the same way that it is now, because by default or normally everything that you automatically just create is having a position of what? Static. Now let's give it a top. The moment you apply a position to an element, you can now start with a top. A top of, let's say, 30 pixels. And let's see. You see that it didn't move. We applied to the nav item, this nav here. We gave it a top of what? 30 pixels. It didn't move. And also left, that means move away from the left side by what? 200 pixels. It didn't move. So elements that we give position static, they don't obey the top left rule. They are not affected by that. And also by default every element is what? Position of what? Static. The same way for what? This one, the box one that we are seeing here, which is this particular item A. Let's say we give it a top. After giving it a position of static, let's say a top of what? 20 pixels. And let's see, nothing happened. It still stays there. All right. So for the static elements, they are all what? The normal default way. Let's see with the position relative. Position relative. With a position relative, when you give an item a position of relative, position relative or relative, it still stays there. We've given the box 1, which is what you are seeing here, position of relative. It's still going to stay there. But then it can also receive or take commands from other properties like top, right, bottom, and left. So it will move. Let's give it a top. Okay, let's say left first. Okay, because of where it is currently, there is some space at the top. So let's start with what? Left of, let's say, 20 pixels. And let's see. It has moved away from the left side by 20 pixels. With respect to its what? Its initial position, or by relative to its initial position, or where it was at the beginning. So it will start calculating the movement from where it was before. That's the meaning of the relative. When we say go by the left side, go from the left side, how many? Let's say 70 pixels. Then let's save and see. Control plus S. So that has moved from the left side by 70 pixels. What about when we say top of what? Let's say 200 pixels. Then it what? Move by 200 pixels. And also you can see that it has what? Come on top of what? These items. That means it has moved out of the document flow. Instead of it following in that stacking order, everything having its own line by line, that's what? Jump out of what? They're breaking out of what? That rule. So with the position relative, we can have properties like left, top, and let's say we can even say right. But about if you apply right of, let's say 200 pixels, what happened? Because of what? The left being 70 pixels, it will what? Take those two properties and then it will no longer know how to go to the right side by 200 pixels. That is why it has stayed there. If you remove the left of 70 pixels, it will jump and go to where? To jump and go to the right by 200 pixels. Where is it? The 200 pixels that's exceeded. Let's reduce it down to 100 pixels. And let's see. 100 pixels. Okay, it has now come back small. Bring it down to 80 pixels. What happened? It is still coming. We'll bring it down to, let's say, 20 pixels. 20 pixels. That's okay. So that is it with the position relative. And you can do the same thing for the other CSS items. Now let's talk about the position absolute. Position absolute. Position absolute also will remove the element from its normal place. For example, let's take the box 2 for let's take a box that is far away, like this box over here. This is box 1 2 3 4 5, box 5. Let's give box 5 a position of absolute and see position. What position? Absolute. 0 plus x. Box 5, which is what? This C color has what? Moved. Look at what it has happened. It has overlapped on top of the next item. Now, we can now start giving it some properties like top of 0 pixels. And what is it? See there? It has what? Seen itself at the top of what? 0 pixels. But when you scroll and go, it will go away. But then it will what? Always make sure that it's at the top 0 pixels. And then let's give it a left. A left of, let's say, 35 pixels. It will also move away from the left side by 35 pixels. And you can see that other items are under it. Now, there is one more thing that we can still understand with the position absolute. That is about how it moves with respect to what term. When you give it when you give, let's say, box 5 a position of absolute, this is the box 5. It is going to start calculating its movements by the element that it is lying inside. Currently, it is lying inside the body element. So for it to move, let's say, by a left of what? Let's say 250 pixels. Then it will start doing the calculation from the body element inside the website or inside the browser, whilst the other ones will still stay there. Alright. Also, we can decide to give it a top, or let's say a bottom, bottom, a bottom of, let's say, 250 pixels also. And what happened? It's going to calculate 250 pixels from the bottom, and then we see it here. So that is with the position of absolute. It takes it from the document flow, but then start calculating its movement with respect to the item that is lying inside. So the same box 5, this same box 5. Okay, let's remove this particular positioning from the box 5, and then we will use box 1 for the experiment. This box 1, where is the box? This is the box 1. This is the box 1. Let's give it a height of, let's say, 30 dvh, so that it will enlarge in this way, and a width of 100%. Okay, so that it covers across. We want to put another box inside it. Okay, so that we can experiment with it. So with the box 1, let's give it a height of 30 dvh. Control plus 8. It has gotten a height of 30 dvh, and let's give it a width of 100%. There is a width over there. Even there is a height here, it has override that height, no problem. And then let's change the width to a 100%. 100%. Has span across. Increase the height small to, let's say, 45 dvh. That's okay. Now we want to remove this p item, or we can even start the p item and then give it some height and width in the background. Okay, so under the box 1, let's point it. Okay, so we have a class of box 1 dot box 1. Now move forward, we are pointing to the p item. Let's give it a height, height. Oh, instead of the curly braces, that's chosen. Alright, height, a height of, let's say, 100 pixels, and then the width of 100 pixels also. That's okay. but then there is no background color. Background color of, let's give it yellow. This is over here. Okay, now this particular p element, let's give it a position of absolute and c. It will by almost now break out of that div that is lying inside. So let's give the p element a position. That means position yourself absolute. All right. Okay, now let's give it top of a very high number, and you see whether it jumps out of this particular rectangle. Top, let's say top, let's say 40 pixels. So that it is, instead of using what it is lying inside to do the calculation for the top, is using the outermost element, which is the body. It is calculating its top with the body element, and not what it is lying inside. Wow. Okay, what about when we say top of, let's say a top of, let's say 90 pixels? What happens? There is already a pixel there. What happens? See, okay, how about add more 400 pixels? All right, that's even finally gone to the point that it's even moving out of the box which it is supposed to lie inside. What about left? Give it a left value. Left of what? Go to the left side, or shift away from the left side by 100, in fact 150 pixels. What happens? Let's move away from the left, not using the box 1 to do the calculation. It is lying inside box 1, but it's rather using the outermost element, which is our body, to do its calculation, to move left, right, even when you give it the bottom. Now, how do you let it move with respect to the box that it is lying inside? Then you have to give that particular parent box a position of relative before you now give the actual thing a position of absolute. So let's remove this left. Okay, and also let's remove the top as well. Now, for us to have this yellow box, which is the P, to move with respect by using what it is lying inside to do its calculation, then this one that it is lying inside, the actual parent element, its parent is what? The div with the class of box 1. This is it here. Give that one a position. Give that one a position of relative. Hit enter. Then you can now give the box 1 and you're now pointing to the P item. This is it here. Box 1 P. So we're referring to this P item. We're now giving it a position of absolute. That's fine. Now when it's now going to move top, left, and right, it will use what it is lying inside with the relative position for its calculation. So let's say top of let's say 0. Can we say 0 or 0 pixels? No problem. Control plus S. This particular box 1, we gave it a position of relative. That is why it has left the document flow. It's supposed to follow this tag. Let me comment the header and all those ones, okay, so that they will leave the HTML flow. All right, so that we can have only the box 1 as the first item, okay, touching the screen. And by giving box 1, this large one that we are seeing, by giving it a position of relative, automatically it will even leave the document flow, and then that way. Now let's give that small P item line inside a left. Oh, come on, I've already typed the left of what? 15 pixels. And let's see. You start using this for calculation. All right. What about we give a top of what? 20 pixels. It will be using this parent element for the calculation. What about if you say, if you remove this position relative from that one, clear, from the parent one or the eldermost one, see what is going to happen. If you're giving a child a position of absolute, give it bottom, BOTTOM, give it bottom of 0 pixels, see, to jump to the bottom using the outermost element, which is what? The body. It will no more think about the one that is lying inside, though. To now use the body to calculate from where to become 0 pixels. But how do you let it use this for its 0 pixels? Then give the eldermost one, which is actually this one, the parent one, give it a position of relative. So that particular box one, give it a position of what? Relative. And see, it will now start using, it has now jump, entered into the box, the parent box. So we must keep that in mind so that we can avoid any miscalculation. And also, honestly, the reason why it is not touching extremely is because it might be having some margin of padding. Well, let's inspect. Right click on the item, then come to like inspect, click on this, and then the inspector can see that there is a margin of what? Top and bottom 16 pixels. Top and bottom 15 pixels. So we can give that particular child element a margin of margin, top and bottom, just a 0, just to remove all the margin of whatever it is having. So it has now what? Attach itself to what? The parent element very well. The moment you remove relative position from the parent element to what? Stop using that one for its calculation, to jump out of it. It's not more inside it. So position absolute will take an element from its parent flow unless you assign the parent a position of what? Relative. And also you can even give things like right, RIG, yes, right of, let's say, 30 pixels. And of course we want to go to the right side by 30 pixels, or you want the right to move to become like 70 pixels. All right, then what about bottom? Add some little bit of bottom, let's say 30 pixels, and see it has moved from the bottom. Oh, how about a bottom of 70 pixels? Look at that, and see where it has become placed. Imagine if you want to place an item here at your screen, how will you command it to do that? Is it CSS flex? Come on, that is gonna be work. It's better you use the display of absolute, but know which one you are trying to keep it inside, and assign that one a position of relative, so that it will move with respect to that one that you've assigned a position of relative after being a position of absolute. All right, that is it with the position of absolute. Absolute to take an item from its normal flow, and it will be having properties like top, right, bottom. But one thing is that when you assign something a top, let's say top, it's now going to, let's say, a top of, let's say, oh, fine, 50%. All right, down 50%. We'll even see the effect properly. It will. All right. Let's use pixels, 50 pixels. Okay. All right. Then we say left. That means move from the left side by how many pixels? Also a 50 pixels. Now that I've assigned a top and a left, I'm not sure that when you assign a bottom and a right, it will listen anymore. So let's assign right. Right of what? A right of, let's say, 41 pixels. So that it still stays there. It didn't listen. So it wants you to use either top left or left bottom. Okay. It wants you to choose either, just choose from top and left to position it. It just wants to. Or you choose bottom and right to position it. Just like a coordinate geometry. It wants a value from the horizontal, that is what? A y-axis. And it also wants a value from either the negative x-axis or a positive x-axis. That is how it works. Or it wants you to choose either bottom That's negative y-axis. And then you now finally choose right. That's the positive x-axis. Okay. An x and a y value. That's all that it wants for it to position itself well. Okay. That is all about the position absolute. And it is very nice too. Let's leave them. And let's remove this also as well. The position sticky. The sticky is like a sticker. You mend it at a place. The sticky will also have properties. We also get properties like top, right, left, bottom, and those things. And it will keep on scrolling with all its items until it will reach a certain point. It will now stop scrolling. That's with the sticky item. Let's choose this, the one with the green. We should have even given them item A, B, C, D, and others. Item A should stay still. Item B, okay. This one should become item C, item D, and this one should be item E, item F, G, and this should be an H. This should be an I. Save that. It's okay. They've reflected. This one, black. It's not showing. Alright, so this one is still inside another one. That means okay, we created that, right? It's okay, we created that. So we want to apply a position of sticky to one of these. Okay, we want the one that will keep on scrolling even when we scroll down. Like, okay, this, the one with the yellow, this yellow one. Okay, no. We want the one with this, okay, the green, the item C. Item C has what class? Item C has a class of what? Box 3. Okay, so let's target box 3. Give it a position, come on, capitals. Position of sticky. All right, scrolling and go top and bottom. It still follows the normal document flow. We are working with this green one. Oh, okay, item C. Let's give it a top of 0, and we see. Now, the moment it reaches to the top, automatically it will break out of the document flow. It will no more move again. This happens when you want people to, you want to put something in a view screen so that they'll keep on seeing it and you don't want it to pass. Just give that thing whether it is coming from the bottom, the moment it reaches the top, it will stop there. Or it will reach from the top a height of, let's say, top from the top 80 pixels. When reach there, stop scrolling, become stick. See there. It's not more going again. It can go to the down, but then the moment I approach it to the top, 80 pixels. Or I can even give it even more. Let's say 200. Yeah, of course it can scroll down and follow them, but then when it's going to up and it reaches that 200, it will stop. And again, it also has the left, right, and bottom properties, like 90 pixels. Okay, yeah, yes. It is only the static, which is the normal, that one, it doesn't have the top, right, and bottom, except that all of them have top, right, bottom properties. Okay, that is with the sticky. Okay, you can also command it to move to somewhere at the view screen. It will scroll line, it will never go. And then you can add a JavaScript item for them to click and then make it disappear. By that time, they've already agreed to the terms and conditions. All right. And then it gets back to where it is. It will still scroll past. Position fixed, which is the next one. Position fixed, which is the lovely one. The position fixed will make an item leave the flow and jump to wherever we command it to stay, and it will become fixed and to not move again. Let's target an element that can scroll and bypass, like this particular one here, the black one. Okay, still the item, the green one, because that one it can normally scroll and pass, scroll and go down. This item here, C. Let's give it a position of fixed and see. Position of fixed. fixed, F-I-X-E-D, Control S. All right, it is already fixed though. Let's jump out of the document flow, but then let's specify fix yourself from the top of 0 pixels or 0, just say 0 or 0 pixels. No problem. And you jump to the top, it will never move again, to stay there. And we can give that particular thing a width of 100% so that it stretches itself across and it will never move. Normally used for nav bars. You see a nav bar that never move away. It will stay there when I went up and down, so that people can what click and move along the site map without having to scroll up and down. So it also has, if you don't give it a width of 100%, right, then we have to do things like right, R-I-G-H-T 0. All right, and then what about left? A left of 0 also, so that you span across to stretch itself to make sure that it's staying at the left 0, nothing, top 0, right 0. But please don't add bottom. What happens when you add bottom? Somebody say, what happens when you add bottom? So let's just do it and then see, so that it doesn't move. All right, nothing is being added. This is normally used for reduce down to 100 and see. This is normally used for nav bars. Okay, so let's see our nav bar. Let's undo all of this. Let's undo all of this. Undo all of this and remove that property, so it becomes a normal box. Let's see our nav bar. This is our nav bar. Select it again and then uncomment it. Uncomment it. That comes again, okay. And then that nav bar, the nav, want to tap the nav UL LI items. I want to give them a display of flex. Would they listen? Start getting the UL items. They're all now flex items. And then we want to move them to the center. So you see that justify content center. Okay. And now align items to move them vertically downwards by the y-axis to the center. If it doesn't listen, it's probably because it is inside this particular header here. This header, give it a height. You have to specify a height. A height, HEIGHT, okay. HEIGHT. A height of, let's say, it's already having a height of 80 pixels. Then no need to add a height again. Rather bring that height inside the nav UL. Yes, also 80 pixels as well, so that it will also calculate and know where to align itself. Yeah, and also when something has a flex, display of flex, you can also give it a gap as well. A gap of what? 20 pixels, so that they all have gaps. And then these UL items list style type. That means the style of what they're listing, we should make it none, so that it's remove those dots away. And of course, this should also be in caps if the rest are in caps. All right. So they are non-clickable. Now, what are we doing? We want to give the nav a position of up. Okay, fixed, right? It's fixed. We are doing this nav bar, the nav, this header, nav. We are pointing to this header and a nav. You can even just talk about the header alone to all obey. Give it a position. Come on, caps. Position of fixed. You see what happened? It's now having a position of fixed. It's not more moving again, no. But tell, we want so that from the top, we want 0 pixels. There should not be a gap at the top. What happened here? That's what position itself very well from the top 0%, and then left 0 pixels also, and then also right 0 pixels. It's okay. That's all. You're done. You're good. You're okay. And then you can scroll bypass. It will just stay there. It will never move. It will stay there anytime. Let's say we remove the top and say bottom, bottom, a bottom of 0 pixels. What happens? You go to the bottom. Scroll passing. This will happen when you put, let's say, a mobile element, a mobile home screen. You are designing a mobile home screen. Home screen back menu to just be there so that they can click all this and do their things. Fun, man. It's so nice and beautiful. So you can apply the position fix to keep an item at a fixed place without it moving, and then it will stay there. And it will also obey other properties like top, right, bottom, and left. That is all for the positions. Let me end the recording and then we will start taking some questions and we'll switch to the web coding.